Hey, what is going on YouTube? This is Robert, and today we are going to be talking about the market, the TCG market to be specific, but within that realm, I suppose the market manipulation, the meme market, and everything that has been going on in relation to that. Now, this is a subject that I've wanted to cover for a little bit of time when I've found the time to do so, but I do just want to say thank you for the support of the last video. It was kind of confusing to me and out of the blue because this is where I just upload things in relation to, cards, games, things like that in general. And I received a message from my friends that I talked to about cards and things, and like when we open stuff, or how the market's going with different things in general, and what's surprising, funny, so on and so forth. And then for some reason I just saw a message saying, like, in relation to your video, I saw this, and it was like the red manga Luffy from OP13, and he was just like, I enjoyed your video. And I was like, pause, like, what do you mean you enjoyed my video? I didn't mention that. I don't post that around or anything. I just upload and that's it. So yeah, it's kind of surprising, but thank you for that. So the market manipulation, it's not inherently bad, I suppose, at the end of the day, unless it outright like affects things on like a massive level. It's quite small scale currently. I would say a lot of people are either getting things early, having things in general, and then all of a sudden it gets manipulated by a third party, the majority of which in this case are going to be Pokemon scalpers who are moving into like One Piece and a lot of other areas and other TCGs, and definitely heavily manipulating it. It's definitely people who have a lot of capital who are going in trying to really heavily, saturate areas and really manipulate them and like up their price heavily just because of one thing or another. I'd say it's not inherently bad because for the most part it doesn't really work on a mass scale. It's a very minuscule thing when you think of it. If you were to take like 100 cards as a sample, it could only be like 7 or 8 of them that are affected by it, and then that might drop down to like 3 or 4 after the fact when like that hype drops off. The only issue are the people that buy into it thinking that they're going to make a mass profit, and then when it falls off, dies off, or it doesn't hold because of many factors, they're then affected by it. So let's go ahead and take a look at, I've got about 30 cards basically, see where they started, see where they, averaged out to, and then see where they're at this current point in time. Whether or not they peaked, stayed, or whether they were just like a fad in the end, or whether they were like part of an actual market that has stayed, and, sat at a decent price point. One thing that you do have to keep in mind within TCGs is that a lot of cards' prices can heavily depend on the current state of that game. Their values will fluctuate. They might absolutely rocket, they might absolutely crash, depending on what is currently in play, what is doing well, and what is the meta. Because when something is played, it can be like a hot commodity, and a lot of people will jump onto that because it's like, oh, this is needed. Oh, but I need 4 of this. I need X amount of this. I need 1 or 2 more of this to complete my deck, And like anything, they can rise, but they can also fall. This might be because there could be a new meta that's in, there could be a new thing that's just playing well in general or across the board doing decently for people, or it could be because a card gets banned because it was too good, and then by the time it's unbanned, it's not really in, it can't really do as well, and it can't keep up with things, and because of that there's not really going to be any change to it. Something else will also take the new meta, a new set will come out, something else is just the best thing at that point in time, and because of that, yeah, it's not really going to have any impact or influence on the game. They can crash and burn, and that's it, like the Sakazuki OP05 alt art. That, yeah, if you know about this leader card, it is a prime subject for this that we can kick off with, because it was like the thing at the time. It was then banned, and that killed it. So yeah, let's get into these cards anyway. So I've got a couple of different ones that I'm going to talk about, obviously, and go through before we go through like the mass pricing ones. These first ones will be the memes, and not Sakazuki obviously, but the cards following this will be like the memes, the ones that have recently been influenced and impacted by people who are trying to pump and dump basically. But we can kick off with Sakazuki. So currently his price point is sitting at about $20, so he's about £15, £14. Now, if we look at him on a year span, you will see, February of this year, he was 41. We can't see back further than that, but I will say that before that is when you will see his price as what it was. You have a massive spike here where we went up to 60, even up to 114, which is kind of insane. And then we have the standard crash of people who probably tried him and he just didn't work. Now, I'll be honest, I remember seeing this card at a PSA 10 for about £500 it was selling for. Like 4 to 500 was its average. I saw the normal selling upwards of like 100 to 120 pounds. It was a big card. The ban happened. I remember seeing like a PSA 10 for like 110, 120 pounds and being like, what's gone on here? And that was purely because I then found out about the ban. Now, he did have that resurgence, as you saw, where it like this peak all of a sudden came back into play. And he did go up for a time, like a matter of time, but he has since crashed back down. Yeah, it just happens, but he was definitely a big card. The Booger Mew. If we've got the Bubble Mew, we have the Booger Mew. Solosis, or Solosis, however you want to pronounce it. Yeah, let's just go 1 year on this and move this into view. So you have about £6 or £7 average, maybe 8 at a push, and then you have the meme come into play, the pump and dumpers, pushing it all the way to a high of 86, an average of 58. Now, since then, it has come down to 30, and that is where it has pretty much remained, but you can see that that is a slow decline of 10% over the last month. I'd probably expect it to go down between like 20 to 30 in the end, and that is where it will stay. Double of its original price point, but yeah. Booger Mew, it's because it's the artwork and everything. It's the same thing. It's this and that and the other. And yeah, pump and dump. Pump and dump. Now, in the same breath, I feel like this card was seen everywhere. And I remember it being like £15 you could buy it for, this Rooftop Mew. And yeah, I mean, since original release, as you can see, you know, it had like an average of about $30. Then this pump and dump, you know, occurred. I believe it was probably about the same time as the Booger Mew and went up to 70 at a high. Now, since then, that has obviously dropped down to 44. And, you know, it's sort of been around the 40 to 45 mark, I would say, but nothing of the high that it had, obviously. And that's just one of the things that happens. These cards settle, they drop down, hype dips down, and yeah, I don't know whether or not people were expecting this to be like 100, 150 like dollar card or not, but in my mind, I don't think you're able to pump a promo that high. They might be able to in the future, but for the time being, it's still higher than where it was originally at and what it had originally settled at. Right, let's get this out of the way. Clobberpuss. 6, 7. The TikTok pump and dumper card that happened. So let's look at it. We have 3, you know, all the way up to 6, 7. We have the crash back down to 3 of where it originally is at. And then we have the next pump and dump for 8, you know, 9, a high of 11 in the end. But now obviously down to 5 and steadily dropping below that. It'll probably go back down to what it was originally at. But yeah. This is a prime example of what memes, fads, you know, and TikTok can do to cards when people just, I don't know, they introduce them and it's like, look at this meme, haha, and yeah, so stupid. Anyway, let's talk about also the Kabuto first edition fossil card, because obviously you might have seen this. I'll throw the photos up of this and everything, the person who is collecting them. Here we go. So this is what I'd like to look at specifically. So currently the lowest is going to be 45 for this card. The average has been 20 to 25, but if we look at the market sales over a 1 year duration, you will see that this card was worth nothing, literally 50 cents, 50p to a dollar. And then basically people learn of the person who's trying to collect as many of them as possible. They're like, I've got 5 of these, I've got 10 of these, I've bought 20 of these to stop this person from getting them. And now you can see that there have been 100 that have sold as of the last week for above $20. That is, as you see, 4,700 increase. Insane. It's insane. It starts off as just someone wanting to collect a card. There are so many people who are collecting cards. There's the person with like the ancient cards. And yeah, people just do it. It's something that they like to do. But this has been absolutely pumped. And yeah, it's insane, isn't it? Realistically, when you think of that's what's happened to it. First edition. Crazy. just because if someone collected it as something that they want to do and other people don't want them to get it, and now they're like, well, I've got 10 of these, I'll sell them to you for 20 a piece, you know, or just below that, you know, I'll give them to you for 150, even though I only paid like $10 for all of them. So yeah, it's crazy. Pikachu McDonald's promo, a recent sale as well of 100 someone paid. That's crazy. Yeah, when things like this come out, price just goes ridiculous. I don't think it's going to drop anything below like maybe 20 or 15. I think it will still be above that because of how limited it is in the end. But it definitely didn't work out the way that people were expecting. I saw sales for this of like 100 to 150 on eBay for raw. And now obviously that has come right down. So yeah. Gengar Nami. Okay, this is from the Volume 4 Best Selection. I can buy this currently, the full selection, for £25, but yet the card is somehow selling for $35. I've seen sales on eBay of £100 for this card. How dumb is that? So let's just open up the graph, take a gander. Yeah, it was 5, 10 at a push. Like, that's a solid 2 months of it being like $10. And then Gengar Nami comes in for Zeus, or Zeus, however she pronounces it. And yeah, it's like a mid-30 card now, and it will probably stay at that because they've made it somehow known as that card, even though you can buy the full collection for less. But yeah, I don't know. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. But yeah, anyway. Now let's go through the cards that have had massive spikes in recent time for realistically no reason whatsoever. So we've got OPO5 Zoro artwork, alt art. Let's just go a year on this so you can just see what's happened, where this card has gone from, you know, like average. It did hit a high, you know, previously, but then that crashed right back down, probably because it wasn't being played anymore, or probably being like used and such. And the typical crash happens like January, February, and then after that a lot of cards do crash. I've seen some of the cards that I bought, like I had an old OPO4, I believe it was, like Yamato. I'm pretty sure I sold it for like, because I wasn't going to send it off to be graded, I didn't really want the card. I'm pretty sure I sold it for like 65. I looked the other day and it's like 20, so it can happen. After that, like Christmas time. But yeah, this card has recently gone on a spike, and it's had a recent sale of $50 for some reason. I don't know. I don't get it. Do not understand. In the same nature, Zoro, again, we have the OPO6 alt art, the secret alt art. For some reason, this has had a recent sale of 100. 100! Like, what are we doing? What is going on? Now, this wasn't like the cheapest card ever. It did have the same spike, as you see, that March peak, and then it comes right down. It averages out at like 40-ish, basically, and then it has a little resurgence, but settles this time at 50, and now for some reason we're up to 80 to 100. Don't know. Don't get it. Are they pump and dumping? I don't know. Got no clue. OPO9 has had a lot go on with it, I won't lie, but Buggy for some reason, and all of these like wanted posters have definitely been heavily affected by it. Let's take a look at the year mark. You have the popularity, again, that March peak, 100, goes down 60, comes back up to 80, settles back down at the 60 mark. And now for some reason, Buggy is 125 and a recent sale of 220. And that is right, the lowest low currently for him is here at 190. What are we doing? What is going on? OP13 Ace, recent release, but yet again he crashed. He was like 70. I saw him on eBay for £55, some for 45, which I should probably bought because that's a steal. But what are we doing? He's 150 with a recent sale of 185 and sales averaging 150. What is going on? What are we doing? Why is this being like, what? Same thing. OP10 Royal Blood, Charlotte Flampe. I don't like her character. I can't lie. I don't. Ever since she hit Luffy with that when he was having his fight, I don't like her. But yet again, let's go to a year on her. She originally comes out 150. Goes right down, settles 20 to 30. All of a sudden, sales are up to 45, and the latest sale has been $80. The lowest listing currently is 150. What? Keep with me on this. Stick with me. We have Boa Hancock from the Illustration Box Volume 1. It's a card that just comes with it. Let's go on to a year on this, okay? Nothing. $5, $3, nothing. We have a little peak at to 15, but yet again, drops back down to like 10 to 15. Out of nowhere, 35. Latest sale, 39. What? Like, hello? Back to OP09, we've got Shanks. We've got a number of Shanks to go through here. What is this? What is this? Like, what are we doing here? You're just going to see his graph go like a roller coaster. You have that January to March time frame. You know, you see that peak that goes on just after Christmas that occurs. Drops right down. We're down to 70 as an average, up to 100, but that's fine. And then out of the blue, we have a sale of $375, an average of 200 on the market price, and the lowest is 345. What is going on? Shanks, yet again, OP11 SP card. Nice artwork, lovely artwork. Let's look at this. First comes out, 180 is the highest, 190. Drop down, average 60 to 80 at a push. All of a sudden, we're back up. Recent sale of 165, 130 being the market value. Like what? Like what? There are none of these up, by the way. None of these are listed. 0 are listed currently. The lowest price sold was $60, and there are none currently available. Obviously, eBay and other markets probably have them, but yeah. Right, Luffy's. I've got this Luffy graded at a 10, so I'm not going to complain, but at the same time, I am going to complain because there is no right for this, nor the other ones, to be the price that they are. But investors, scalpers, everything like that you can say, have bought these heavily. I bought this card for £20 graded at a PSA 10, okay? Let's go on a year on this card, okay? This is what I saw it at. This whole thing, like $5 to $10. I saw this all over eBay for that. And then we have 20, 30, all starting back from September, settling at 40. And now we have a recent sale of $150 for the raw card on the Super pre-release. What? Like, what? Like, I get it, it's a Super pre-release. Like, people aren't exactly going to be buying the deck boxes in order to get it. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Luffy again, OP11 coming back into the mix. Let's just go 1 year to go through it again. We've got the Luffy Taro SP. Okay, same thing. Starts off, typical, you know, then you have the crash just after. You have a little bit of resurgence, but still, it was a $90, $100 card. And now, boom, we've had a high sale of 261, an average now of 190. That is $100 more than its price from a little over a month ago. Like, what? The lowest listing is 260 on this card. Right, promotional cards, okay? We've got the Championship 2023 card. I get it, Championship cards, promo cards, they can have that sort of kick-off and price-like peak. The JP card of this, I paid like £10 for. It's way more than that now. But this is ridiculous. This card was $60 to $100 and it did not sell, okay? Then you have the Pokemon people coming in. You have the scalpers coming in. There is a recent sale of 770 on this. Its market price is 470 and the lowest listing is 750. What? Okay, let's go for the same thing. Let's go for the event volume 2 version of this promotional card. It just says 25th anniversary. It doesn't have the Championship 2023. Let's go on a year on this card. It's the exact same thing, but it's just a different release, a different event. 20 to 50 at a push, and now we have a latest sale of 241, an average of 180, and a lowest listing of 220. What? English second anniversary set Luffy leader card, okay? This set was like £200. I could have bought this for like £180 at a push, the whole set. This Luffy, for some reason, has been absolutely rocketed. Look at this. We were going 50 to 80. Also, taking cards out of sets and promotional things is hell on earth. If you've ever tried to do it, you will know the amount of problems that you could have. But yet again, 80. Okay, we have this rise to 170, 180. I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's probably about all it's going to go to. Nope, latest sale 276, market is now 250. This card is more than the whole set cost you in the first place. Right, since we've got to talk about the pre-release, let's talk about super pre-release leader Luffy. This card, I remember I could have bought for like £30, 25, 30. At a push, there was a PSA 10 for 55 and another one for 58. I remember them vividly because I was like, I'm not spending that. I'm spending £20 on this one. Okay, let's go at a year on this card. Right, average 70. 70, 75. Zero sales, by the way. Zero sales. No one was buying this card. No one. And then we have 100. Peak of 270. No sales yet again, nothing going on. Oh, all of a sudden, someone sold one for 500 and 348 is the market price. And currently, there is one listing for 924.99. Let's go even worse than that, though. Let's go with the Super Pre-Release Winner promo card. Now, this card I remember for like 100 to 150. A PSA 10 was about that as well. There was some of like 2 to 250. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing realistically heavily above that. It was like not a wanted card. Now, however, let's go on the 1 year. We've got 900. So someone sold one for 1,000, basically, is what it's saying. We then have 1.1 and someone sells one for 1.1. We then climb up and someone recently sold one for 2,368. Market price, it says, is 1,600. The lowest listing is 5,000. I saw one of these selling a PSA 10 for 4,500. So the market is definitely being manipulated on a lot of older promotional or just cards in general. We can go to Emperors in the New World and just go from like top down. And by the way, this is a recent change insofar as the case is now worth more than manga Roger. This was below Roger by like $700, $800. The case by itself, I remember seeing, was like 2.2, 1.822 at a push. Now look at this. Okay, recent sale of 3,500. Like, what are we doing here? So then we can look through. You've got Roger still at 3,000. You know, Luffy is there at 1,100. You know, Shanks 1,000. Teach at 700. Buggy at 600. And then you have the cards that have absolutely been pumped as of late, which are going to be the Nami SP, which was 899 is a recent sale. Look at this card. This was a $200 to $300 card. Someone has sold a load of them recently for 500, and there is a recent sale of $900. The lowest now is 950 on this Nami card. Beyond that, we then have the Boa Hancock. Exact same thing. There's a recent sale of 620. This was again $100 to $200 on the high end card. Recently, yeah, 600, like 490 to 600, 674. Lowest listing is currently 400, it says, and yep, and the last card, Zoro. Zoro, recent sale of 500, one listing for 550. $100 to $200 card on the low end. Boop, 500. Because that makes sense. And the same sort of thing is going to probably happen across the board with this box. The box is now valued at $300 OP09. A recent sale of 356. I'm going to be honest, like, I'll be straight with you. Like, I have 5 of these boxes. I bought them and I spent so much time trying to get them for retail, because it was the most difficult task starting last Christmas all the way into March to try to buy a box for a fair price. I paid 85 or 84.99, 83 on some to 95. I only paid one box at 95, so it's like 83 to 90 was what I was paying per box, okay? That's it. I tried my best to get them at a fair price point. And I want to open a couple of them this Christmas for my brother. I've got 2 OP13 to open my brother this Christmas. But I genuinely feel like that if this goes to, because I've made so many mistakes with boxes, if this goes to like a $500 box, if I open one and keep 4, or go to like try and get another box for like retail, try to, then I'll still keep the 4 that I've got and open that one that I then buy. But yeah, it's insane. Like, and this is coming from someone who's opened 4 OPO5s, 2 PRB01s, and like 6 other boxes. You know, I've made the mistakes. I paid £75 a box for PRB01. That is now a $700 box. Like, look at this. I paid £75 a box. There is a recent sale of $750 on this. Oh, God. But that's life. But yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about. That is what I wanted to go over. That is what I wanted to discuss. As per norm, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. What you've bought, what you've sold, whether you've seen a lot of the manipulation going on, whether you've taken part in it and profited, whether or not you've sold from your personal collection because you've like, that card's gone up like $60, sell. Or whether you're in it for like the long run and you're just one of the people who's like, I'm going to buy 25 boxes or I'm going to buy 100 cases and put them in a storage unit, and yeah, or I'm gonna put like all of these that I bought for above retail into a safe because yeah. But yeah, I'd love to know realistically where people stand. If you are in it for the long run, fair enough, you've invested the money. If it, you know, if you bear the fruit in the end, then I hope that you can and it works out. But yeah, honestly, if OP09 goes to like $500 box, I won't even know what I can say or do. Like it's just insanity. But yeah, that's going to cover this video anyway. Thank you for watching. Like I said, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. What other cards might have been manipulated, or what other cards have just been mass pumped or just gone up sporadically. I know I covered a handful of them, but it's probably not even close to what's going on currently. But yeah, that is going to cover it for me. So I do hope that you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Peace.